It's time for an art tutorial. Today, I'm going to show you all the tones of the face. Now, this is something that other artists have a bit of difficulty showing in their art, but when I teach you these few little tricks, your faces are going to have their correct tones and the correct colors. So let's jump to it. Now, if you create art like I do, where you paint everything in grayscale and you get to that point where it's all rendered, ready for you to put color, and once you put color, it just looks muddy. Now, I had that for a very long time. It was very difficult for me to figure out how can I put way more color into the face because I've rendered it. Like, it shouldn't be that difficult. Well, I've got a few tricks and tips to help you out and take you on this journey of making your art just a little bit better. What I'm gonna teach you is not super substantial, but it might be that little step that will take your artworks just to the next level. Now, our lab rat for today is gonna be the good old Astarion. We have him in his grayscale glory. I painted this a couple months ago, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna show the tones of the face through him. So we're actually gonna start off with just a basic. What you want is your base level color, whatever skin tone that you want, ranging from light to dark, you select that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select a color. Astarion skin tone is that of a vampire, which is basically non-existent. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go for what I'm familiar with my own face is this pinkish reddish skin tone, and basically we'll just fill all this out and color overlay it like that. And once that's all filled in, we'll begin the tones. So I'm going to fill that out, and then I'll get back to you once I begin the tones. Now, some would paint that and think, that's it, I'm completed. But you're wrong. You've just begun. This is the part where you can blend and try to, make it darker, more tanned, more white, you know what I mean? Less saturated, way more saturated. It all depends on what you're going for. Just remember that if you do want to saturate it, you also have to darken it. So what we'll do is we're gonna go for something. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll start off with that. Okay. Now, basically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to select red. What we're creating is we're creating the warm spots of the face. Okay. The warm spots of the face is, the way I describe it, is basically where your blood vessels are more distinct. And as you can see with my, there we go, my birthmark, I have a port wine stain, which means that the blood vessels are closer to the skin, which creates this red effect. This also happens around your nose. So around this area, I normally just like to put the nose straight there. Nose is always first. The lips, probably should turn the flow down. The lips, the ears are another big part, and the cheeks. So it's always around this sort of like shape here. You're gonna want something like this. And to be honest, sometimes, depending on the character, you go above the eyes. There are a bunch of other colors within the eyes, so just keep that in mind. But for the most part, if you want to play it safe, just get the areas around the cheek. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to play with a blending mode. So I like to either sometimes multiply it and bring it down to start it off. And I'm talking about like bring it really down. And then I do another layer of red, and I basically go over certain parts, a lot more intensified in areas like around the creases of the nose, down here, the lips, especially like there's certain parts where just the line outside the lips is very dark, so I like to go there. The inside of the ears, less so than the outside. It's more like the inside bit here, and just certain parts of the cheek, not the whole thing, but you're gonna want to cheek it up a little bit. And that turns into an overlay, and then you bring it down again and you adjust this as much as you want. So now you can see a bit of life coming through in the character. Okay, so you're starting to see different tones in the face, and let me tell you, it's not just red in the tones of the face. There's green, there's yellow, there's blue, sometimes purple. It just really depends on skin tone and what you're going after. So what we're going to do now is we're going to paint the yellow parts of the face. So the yellow parts of the face are pretty straightforward. It's the sort of like less meaty areas of your face. So we're talking about the forehead area. It's not as, you know, cheeky as this. We're talking about these bits here closer to the bone, and these bits here sometimes. It's just think about where your face has less meat on. This is probably terrible way to explain it, but I assure you that this is the correct way because I was taught by another artist on how to do this. So blame them if it's wrong. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna overlay that bunch of yellow, bring it down, and then you're starting to see the tones a little bit more. I'm starting to think that some of this red, there we go. So the main reason why you lay it on thick at the start is so that you can then go back and control the opacity of the layer, so you can decide whether you want more yellow or too much yellow, or, you know, not enough. But you're going to start blending colors soon, and you're already 2 colors into the face. So let's just do the third one. The third one, and this mainly applies for men, because this can also double as a 5 o'clock shadow on your characters. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get blue, and the only parts that you're really going to paint blue are around the jaw. So around this area, as you can see, there's already like a 5 o'clock shadow look going on, but I would also paint under the eyes, but there's going to be another color going under the eyes in a minute. Don't forget that you left a bit of yellow there, so there. And then what you're going to want to do is multiply that and then bring it down. So bring it to multiply and bring it down. But also keep in mind, the darker you have it, the more it looks like they've got a thick beard, and 5 o'clock shadow pretty much. So as you can see there, Astarion looks like he's got a 5 o'clock shadow. And then the further you bring it down, the more it looks like there's a tone in the face there. So that is normally where I place blue. It's really just that part, and sometimes I skip it altogether, because especially in the jawline. In the eyes, I do add blue and purple, which we're going to add purple very soon. But yeah, it's just, it depends on, you're using this as a baseline to find out what your character needs. So that's just the best way that I can explain it. We're going to pick purple now, like a magenta purple. And what we're going to do is we're going to give him dark circles because he is a vampire. So we're going to give him a bit of like a bruised look. It's always funny painting these at the start because it looks like you're applying like a strong eyeshadow to the character. I just think it's great. So what you do now is, what I like to do is I like to use this in like the deep portions of the face. So like the corners of the mouth, these certain parts of the nose. This is when you start getting a bit more intricate with how you're using colors in the face. So there we go. What we'll do is multiply that and then bring it down. There we go. So as you can see from when we started, we are already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers in. That's from when we started, and that's where we are now. So I'm going to play around with this a little more and basically showing you, using the same methods that I just taught you with those specific 4 colors. You might see me mix in a bit of green, but that's normally where the yellow goes. So I wouldn't be too thing about it with the colors. Just make sure that you're mainly looking at red here. I'm doing it such a poor move on this. Red here, blue here, and here, and yellow here. That's a very, very basic way to paint the tones of the face, but start off using that method and then play around with it. That's the whole point of art, is for you to take what you learn from something and push it in a direction that you want. So I'm going to continue working on this, and I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, so hopefully the time lapse helped you out in seeing how the process works. I normally take it just a little bit further than this, but for this process video, I think that's pretty much where I'm gonna take it. As you can see, if I turn off all these layers, where we started from to where we are now shows how much of a difference the tones actually work. Now, I do like to do one more step. This last step is just a self-preference that I like doing, because normally I do take the colors a little bit far and it looks a bit purpley and muddish at some point. That is purely my process. So what I like to do is basically the tone of the face, whether it's a pink tone or an orange tone or a yellow tone or green tone or a dark tone, is I put a layer of, sometimes you might have to play around which color it is, but for this specific one, I put a layer of red over it. So now he looks purely demonic. He looks like he's Carlax's mate. Look how bad that is. This is sort of like a ceiling color is what I like to call it. Something that just binds it all together. So you start off with the base color, you put all the tones in, and then you seal it over. I've seen it done on prosthetics and makeup. That's why I do this method, is because I've seen people build props and they create the tones first and then they seal it over with like a semi-opaque color, which then just creates that the skin tone, you know. So what I like to do sometimes, it's either multiply or overlay. I normally go for overlay, and then I bring that down. So I bring it down to about there. Let's see if I have any other options for that. So there we go. That's pretty much where I take it in terms of skin tone. And then afterwards, there's lighting on top of that, which we're not going to get into today. But I hope I taught you guys something to start off with learning how to paint faces. I hope this has been a benefit. If you want to see more tutorials like this, please let me know in the comments below. I also have a few other exciting different videos planned for the next coming weeks. I've just been completely bogged down with conventions, so I will see you guys next week when we play around with something else. See ya.